Hello and welcome back to the RattleMind Podcast. I'm Rye, and joining me, as most of the time, my fabulous co-host.
Oh, I'm your fabulous Panchy.
Yes.
Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah, until I stumbled over the words.
I love it.
Of course, I will apologize that we didn't have an episode last week, but, there were kind of things, holiday for us Americans, because, it was Memorial Day, and then my birthday was right
Thank
after
you
it.
to all who have served.
Yes.
Yep. Happy belated birthday. Now I can tell you verbally.
So, neither of us had enough time to actually record the podcast last week, so.
My excuse. Busy.
Exactly.
Work sucks. The heat sucks. Life is going crazy.
Yep.
Oh well.
It's like for the last 5+ days, I have not been able to do much of anything because I have a rash on my left arm that's so bad that it was bright red and nasty. Apparently, I got into poison ivy at some point.
Oh, good job.
Yep. So I've been dealing with that, and
You could live in the desert and still find a way to get an allergic reaction to something, or poison ivy, or
Yeah, I probably could. So yeah, I went to the doctor's on Monday, and they told me, "Yep, it's poison ivy." For some reason, no one can tell what poison ivy looks like right now because everything's so small and no one can tell what the leaves are. So, lots of people are getting poison ivy apparently in this area.
Oh, weird. Maybe pollen from some kind of. I don't think poison ivy creates pollen, but
No, it has.
Maybe something got in the air.
Yeah, poison ivy, from what I remember, is mostly an oil buildup on the leaf, and that gets into it.
Yeah.
But you do have a point. It could have gotten in the air because of everyone mowing their lawns recently and running over the poison ivy. So
maybe someone had a bonfire and accidentally threw in a bunch of poison ivy or something.
That also is another option. But yeah.
Yeah, you live in an area where I'm sure people have lots of bonfires.
Yep. So yeah, went to the doctor's office. It said, yeah, that's a really bad case. They stabbed me in the butt with a needle. Yep. Well, they're like, it's so bad, we're going to inject you with steroids.
Not an ointment until they were like, okay, okay.
Yeah. Well, they did give me an ointment as well, but yeah. Like, yeah, this is so bad and it's looking nasty. We're going to make sure we get steroids in to fight it with for you. And we're going to stab you in the butt.
And not the tablet steroids. No.
Nope.
You're special.
Yeah, got to get it in there and, get it working.
Oh my God. When I got, for 4th of July, a very long time ago, we had just moved to Cincinnati, actually. We went to the park for a fireworks display and a little concert. And we had a good time, but the next day I woke up and my eye was swollen so much. It wasn't shut, but it was super swollen, and I took a picture and sent it to my boss, and he was like, you're fine, just being he was being funny. That's fine. You look like you're having fun. But I was like, yeah, I'm going to urgent care. And they weren't 100% sure. We were sitting in the grass, but they gave me a little steroid, and it was a what was it, a week's worth, and I think it started off really strong and then waned down in strength. Unless I'm getting that vice versa, it could be reverse. It could be it started off weak and went really strong. But I'm pretty sure it started off strong and then it gradually decreased in intensity over the span of the week, you know? And And he almost sent me off, but I was like, so about work. And he was like, do you have to like be in front of people? I was like, yeah. It's customer service. And he was like, oh, okay. And then he like gave me like 2 or 3 days off or something. It was great.
Yeah. Nice. The last time I had poison ivy, it was like 10, 15 years ago. And it was really bad because apparently I also had strep throat at the same time.
Oof.
So the strep virus interacted with the allergic reaction to the poison ivy. So I ended up with whitish welts that were really
Ugh.
big and nasty because the virus
Ugh.
actually got into the poison ivy infection.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
so it
that
was,
sounds
yeah,
horrific.
it was nasty back then. This is nowhere near as bad, but when it starts to take up, having a red mass, basically a third of your arm, it's very uncomfortable. Plus, I can't rest my arm on my keyboard without touching it or scratching at it because it's on the underside of my arm.
Oh,
That's
no,
why I
no, no,
haven't been
that's
able
the
to play
worst.
video games lately. I mean, I've been able to get on for like a few minutes because I'm like
Yeah.
creeping my fingers up properly, holding up like high and keeping my arm up. So I'm hitting like with the
You
very
can't do
tip
that
of
for
my
very long.
fingertips. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Allergies suck.
That was awesome though when we had you playing Sea of Thieves with us.
Yeah, I like that. That was fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
I tried to play the intro stuff, the learning stuff, but that was right when the poison ivy was starting to take hold, so it was getting itchy and uncomfortable.
Oh, okay. So it's after. Okay.
Yeah.
I started playing that game with my friend Sammy, and I didn't need the tutorial because he was very like, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And everything I know I learned from playing with him. And then when we stopped eventually playing again with Beth and Rosie and just learning even more about it, I should probably do that tutorial just to learn some basics. And like it's probably kind of storyliney, maybe. It was,
There was a
I don't
little
know,
bit
I
of
just
story to it, but the amount
okay.
I played, basically, as much as you're going to learn right now as you would playing that.
Fair enough, but I'm a bit of a completionist, and I think I would like if I was just bored one day and nobody could play with me or something, I would probably
Right.
knock it out.
Which is why I kind of played it. There was no one else around to play with, so.
Well, you never message me and are like, "Hey, I'm playing this. Join me."
Yeah, that's where
So
me
if you
and
ever
Beth are a
want to,
little bit
you don't
alike. I
have
don't like
to,
bothering
but you should.
people.
Oh my god. First of all, you're not thinking of Beth. You're thinking of Rosie. Beth
Well,
will
yeah,
force you to play something with her, whether you like it or not. uh, but I kind of like that about her too, because she gets she gets me, out of my funk when she does that.
right. You always need a friend like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Rosie does that too sometimes, I guess.
Yeah,
But she is more of a like, if you seem busy and even the remotest slightest bit, you're too busy for her and she doesn't want to bother
right.
you. She's a sweetie.
Which I've found more games that I think we should play with Rosie. But
Ooh.
I would love to actually record her reactions to playing them, so.
Oh my god, you won't believe it. We found a survival crafting game that she loves.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Small Land.
Hmm.
Okay, I was hoping it would ring a bell, but I guess not. It's it's a lot of people compared it to Grounded because you are a very tiny person, but you're not a shrunken child. You're like a a fairy or like a tiny creature. You're kind of like a fairy, but you don't have wings, so I don't know what to call me. But it's a very similar concept, you know. But Beth actually compared it to Ark in a sense that, like, if you replace the dinosaurs with bugs, and you can tame and ride bugs instead of dinos.
Okay, I remember this a bit.
I think Evan and Caitlin played some when they got done with Grounded, which they were all about Grounded, and I was there for it.
Oh, hold on, little.
What? Wait, what? Well, he said hold on, so we're gonna hang on till he gets back. To what? I leave that up to you and your discretion. If it's a person, please get their permission first.
All right, sorry, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Did you entertain our listeners while I was gone?
I hope so. I said, well, he said to hang on, so we shall hang on for as long as it takes. So hold on to whatever you want at your discretion. If it's a person, please get permission first.
Yeah, I forgot to switch my sign so that they wouldn't knock on my door. Yeah. All right. So yes, you were talking about the game.
Yes, Small Land.
Ooh,
It's
a
a
leopard gecko.
what?
There's a leopard gecko in one of the images for the game.
Oh, that's freaking awesome. We aren't very far in yet. I kind of like that we started with very little knowledge, you know.
Yeah.
But Rosie loves it, and obviously Beth and I do. It's right up our alley, so they've been kind of how do I put this nicely? Scaredy cats about it though. Because so there's a setting when you host a world that it's like a peaceful mode,
Yeah.
and it makes all the bugs like not attack you until you attack them, and that's not very true to
Right.
the game. What kind of gamers are we? But it has been kind of nice to be able to collect resources and like see what the building is like and crafting is like. But they can have their peaceful worlds. Mine is going to be chaos. It's actually a little similar to Grounded too, because there are it does show the bug's weaknesses when you're fighting it. So like the very first enemy you'll come across is probably going to be the ants, and the ants don't like swords, so go in with a wooden sword. It's like the first sword you can make. It'll help you a lot.
Cool.
It's good stuff. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful game. I like it.
Yeah. Looks like the publishers also have another game called Bramble, King of the Mountain King.
The Mountain King.
Well,
Okay.
it's called Bramble, the Mountain King.
Yeah, but it sounds so intense. Because
It does a little bit,
Bramble,
yeah.
you think of like a bush, and then it's like the Mountain King, and it's like, whoa. I wasn't expecting all that. I was expecting shrubbery here.
Yeah. Well, I will try to talk.
Step 1,
Exactly.
use words. Step 2, organize words.
Yes, organize words in a way that they make a sentence. Then string sentences together to make a paragraph. Then group your paragraphs along like set themes to create
You
a...
no, you got to go back to step 1 now, buddy. Like
Yep,
that, we
I was
ain't
already
overlooking
starting to
that.
stumble back to step 1 there. I broke it.
Let's try again, slowly.
Well, I added both of them
Oh,
to
yeah.
my wish list now.
Oh, you added Small Land and what else?
Bramble.
Oh, Bramble, gotcha.
It looks cool.
Beth and I found a cute little game called Roots of Pacha. Well, Beth found it. She usually finds the games and is like, "You're gonna freaking love this," and then we're usually like, then we'll just play it and be like, "Yeah, we love this." So she found this little game called Roots of Pacha. It's basically Stardew, not Sunhaven, because so far there really hasn't been any combat stuff. So it's more of a peaceful, explorative, fun little game. But their take on it though is that it's very primitive. Like not cavemen, it's like, you know, civilized tribes. I guess you could say. Civilized tribal. It's a very cute game. Probably not for everybody. It's kind of basic, but it's adorable, and if you love these kinds of games, then it's worth a shot for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, and I do like how the cave is very puzzly.
It is kind of fun when they throw puzzles into your games that aren't...
Yeah.
Because it lets you think a bit.
Yeah, sometimes it's about the like Yep, I'm feeling step 1 too now.
Yep, there we go. Step 1's a hard one.
Step 1's out the window. Puzzles, mind growth, mind engagement is fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to bed now. Bye. It's been great. Been a great day, folks. Y'all have a good week. See ya.
It's a short podcast. There we go. Yep, that's the weekly podcast. Yep. 17 minutes.
Long enough for us, apparently.
Like, we can't keep things straight. I mean,
right.
Yeah, we could when I was doing the, I had set up themes for each episode, but that was a lot of work.
I don't know if it was a lot of work or if it just came off as stiff.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was kind of stiff.
I think it's kind of depressing forcing us on that, like, track.
Yeah.
And every time we, like, wanted to talk about something else, we had to be like, well, you can talk about that in a different episode, you know?
Right.
So, I don't know. I like just loosening up about it.
Definitely gives us more freedom this way.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, now I'm browsing Steam, looking at games again.
Have you tried any new ones lately?
Or,
well, not, pre-Poison Ivy anyway,
Not really. I mean, I don't think I've gotten anything new.
Fair enough. Other than Sea of Thieves. That's probably the most recent new one.
Yeah. I've been playing Space
Didn't
Engineers,
we do a
Sea
of Thieves episode?
Yeah, we did. I think it was a joint themed episode when we did Sea of Thieves.
Oh, maybe.
I could probably find
people are still getting off to PvP in that game, that's for sure, but it's still fun in its own special way.
Yeah. I always prefer PvE, player versus environment.
Me too.
When it comes to multiplayer, I prefer co-op.
Yeah, I agree with this completely. Sea of Thieves is different though because it does have PvE and it's amazing PvE. It's so fun. From all the questing to fighting skeletons and ghouls and sea creatures and whatnot, and underwater excursions and the treasure. It's all so cool. But all that can be ripped away. Like all your success can be ripped away from you in an instant because there are people there who just
Yeah.
enjoy that. But here's the funniest thing: since I've gotten back into that game, the biggest problematic people we've had are people who like just happen to see us at a port, like in a town, and then they sink our ship.
Right.
While we've been out sailing, and we've had many different ships sailing, we've had all three sizes. The sloop is the smallest one. Um, the brigade, I think it's called, is the middle one. And then the biggest one is, oh god, what is that called? Start with a G. It's like a galleon. That's what it is. It's a galleon. And I've been on each of the ships since I've got back in the game, and we have been sunk by a kraken while sailing. That was insanity. But yeah, the worst players were when they find us just docked on the port, hanging out.
Yeah.
We didn't even have treasure at the time, so they didn't get anything for it. We were just like, okay, hope you got that out of your system. Have a good one. Bye.
People are weird.
One of the times though, it was actually me, Beth, and Rosie, and you can play instruments in the game, and they all sync together. Like whoever starts playing the song first, you can play an instrument, and it'll play with whatever song's already playing. So we were in this town, and this town's tavern had a stage in it. And when we found that, like, we stood on the stage and like started playing songs and like pretending there was an audience. We were like, hey, we heard it's someone's birthday out there, because you can play the birthday song. And we
Yeah.
had like just played it. And we were like, we heard it was someone's birthday. Have a great day, man. Like, happy birthday, One-Eyed Jack. And then out of the blue, another random player darts across the tavern and exits through the other side. And we were like, an actual audience. So we followed the guy. We followed him with our instruments. And he runs to his ship. Well, when he gets to his ship, he turns around and looks at us, and he goes, don't follow me. And I didn't know how to work the push to talk at the time, and none of us really did.
Yeah.
Beth was probably on her phone anyway. But we had our instruments out, and we were already almost on the dock, and we just okay, we followed him, okay? But like we followed him a little bit, but he got on his ship, and what they did while we had instruments in our hands was when they got on their ship, they shot us with the ship cannons while we were on the dock holding instruments, and they kept shooting us. And we got so mad, right? I died a couple times, Rosie died once. We got so mad. Bear in mind, they have a sloop, right? The small one with one mast.
Right.
We had our brigade, which was 2 masts, next size up, but I doubt they knew that, because we jumped on our brigade and hunted them to the ends of the earth. They took off, and so the bigger ships, they're really great with speed, but they're, garbage like maneuverers, so you can turn the sails to get in the wind, and you can catch up, and then you can kind of like turn and like get the cannons pointed at them, you shoot at them. um and then they take off, and then we'd have to like reorient, catch up to them again, and we just kept doing this cycle over and over again. And uh they never sank though, because you can repair your ship, like you can run down and fix all the holes and stuff. We weren't doing enough damage fast enough to sink them. But we ended up on this island together. Like, we had fallen so far behind, they thought we were done, so they stopped on an island, and then we rammed their little ship with our big ship. And then we docked. We actually wound up like slamming down the anchor, and then the ship like spun, and then we got stuck between sand and dock, because the dock was kind of T-shaped, and we couldn't get our ship out anyway. But like, we all just got off our boat and like just was shooting each other and killing each other repeatedly, and I figured out the push to talk, so we were screaming profanities at each other. And they were like, "You threatened us," and I was like, "We were holding instruments," and yelling just like, horrible names at each other. But finally we got to a point where we were like, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. And I was like, okay. And I emptied my hands, he emptied his hands, and he was like, "I warned you not to follow us." I was like, okay, you said don't follow you, but we were holding instruments when you murdered us. And he was like, "Yeah, well, that was a threat to me, you holding instruments and blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Okay, buddy, we're just going to have to agree to disagree." You know, like, that was ridiculous. I
Yeah.
mean, he might just be paranoid from playing this game and getting ganked a lot, but, we we never once threatened them, like, just with good song. Just with sea shanties. If you feel threatened by sea shanties, you need to question a lot of your life choices. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but I was like, "All right, let's call a truce," and he said, "Okay," and we parted ways, and we had to we had to vote to scuttle our ship, and we all called it a night anyway. So, but that was fun. That was fun. We chased that fucker down. He did not know what was coming.
Those are the fun things about multiplayer.
Right.
This is the weird little stories you can get out of.
I don't. I maybe 5% of my games are non-multiplayer or co-op of any kind or online of any kind. Like Rune Factory, of course, isn't gonna be multiplayer. Pokemon isn't exactly multiplayer. So it's just, I don't know. Gaming is the absolute peak funnest when it's with your buddies.
Yep, see where
Humble
I
opinion.
most of my games are single player, and I play alone most of the time.
I mean, well, I love games that like can be played single player. Like, I feel like Raft is an amazing game that you can just kind of like get lost in single player, but also have a shit ton of fun in multiplayer. So like a really, really good solid game is one that can pull it off either way.
Right.
But of course, there's nothing wrong with going just single player. You like what you like.
Yep. See, I like story driven games, which is why I don't like multiplayer most of the time.
I feel like that is starting to seep into the multiplayer world, though.
Yeah.
Grounded's story was pretty dang cool, and I watched the entire thing through Evan and Caitlin, all their uncuts, So, I feel like that is starting to get more involved.
Well,
But you're right. There is a huge element lacking with that. Because even if there is story, it's not very much, you know?
yeah, it's like Ark has a story, but
Right.
you have to go through and actually hunt down every piece of information to try and piecemeal the story together. So,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
still
it's not
haven't
a
experienced any cutscenes other
oh,
than the intro.
there aren't any real cutscenes at all in Ark unless you
Or I
actually
haven't met
feed.
any of the characters or
Oh
whatever
no, you don't
either.
meet any of the characters at all.
Oh,
Yeah,
I could have swore that I'm sure now that I misunderstood, but there was a chick that was supposed to help us
there is and
find
there
certain
isn't.
dig spots.
There is and there isn't. That is actually a AI version of her.
Well, yeah.
So it's a little machine that floats around you and will alert you to a dig
Oh.
spot or something like that.
Right, when you said AI version of her, I was like, well, duh, it's an NPC. Like, what? You think like a dev is like playing the... I see what you mean now. It's like we're breaking the fifth wall a little bit.
Yeah,
Or fourth wall or
fourth
whatever the
wall.
saying is, but um
And you have to have
in
Genesis
game,
to have that
not
character.
just...
Right.
Oh, okay. Which I do. I believe I do now have that. I'm just waiting for Arc 2 at this point.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to get burnt out on Arc 1. And Vin
Now,
Diesel, how he's going to be incorporated, but he is going to be incorporated.
now there are issues with Arc 2 because apparently the publishing company or whatever that actually released the game is doing its money grubbing, greedy whole thing again. So if you want the Arc reimagined, which is basically Arc again, the same Arc experience, only upgraded with a little bit better graphics and stuff like that, you can buy a bundle with Arc 2 to get that, but you have to buy all the DLCs and season passes or whatever they call them all over again at the extreme high amount again. So it's like, yeah, when you do
Wait,
things like this, you're supposed to make
for
a,
Arc 1?
yeah, for
DLCs
Arc
for Arc
1.
1 or
Yeah,
Arc 2?
no, for Arc 1. Because they reimagined the original game with the new updated graphics engine or whatever. And you have to buy that
Huh.
separately, or you buy it bundled with Arc 2. And then the DLCs are all separate, so you have to piecemeal buy those again at the, what were the prices for the DLCs of Arc? Let's see. Of course, there were a handful of free, $30 a piece, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's
That doesn't... Well, aren't people just gonna just get Arc 2 by itself and then
probably,
the DLC for Arc 2? Like,
yeah.
what? I don't...
But the thing is that they're really promoting this updated Arc right now. And it's like, you guys are just
You know what?
money grubbing
Right.
jerkwads.
Yeah, probably trying to squeeze just an extra dollar out of Arc before they come out with their sequel.
Yeah. Yeah, so gaming is in a weird spot right now. It's like,
Gaming as a whole?
yeah, gaming as the entire culture itself is in a weird spot right now cuz you have so much of the extremes where for like the last 5 or 10 years it's been nothing but open world, sandbox everything. You can go do everything. And yeah, well, there's a story. You probably won't get to the story until you actually realize, there was actually a point to the game you're playing. But here's side quest. Here's another side quest. But their story, I kind of want to play story. You play the story and you get done with it in like 5 hours. But to get any of the other stuff, you do side quests for another 40 hours. It's like, why couldn't we like incorporate these things a little bit better?
Yeah, it's such a solid concept. At least when it came out, it was new and exciting and fun. And I guess we're just kind of waiting for the new concept, the next new big concept.
Yeah, sadly, that next concept after big open world was PUBG.
VR.
And no, VR's always been lingering. But the next big concept was the like PUBG and Fortnite and Apex, which originally the original concept of Fortnite was that there was some sort of dimensional rifts forming in this town. And you had literally a fortnight, 14 days, to get all the rifts closed and something along that line. But that concept didn't click, so they switched over to the whatever it is Fortnite does now. Which, funny enough, a game called Redfall came out. And if you actually pay attention, Redfall, which no one had any idea what they were doing when they came up with this game, which is $70. Holy crap. Well,
how much?
$70.
Oh, what? That's a new like PS5 game. What?
Well, it literally came out this last month, so price is slightly understandable, but the problem is that it went through development confusion. None of the Arcane was told, from what I've pieced together from all these sources, not my sources, so this is like third-hand information. The teams that were working on it were told, make a Arcane version of, I have no idea what they said anymore, I'm blanking, but basically they said, make your version of this type of game. Well, they gave each studio or group that was working like 3 different games, and like, okay, so we're going to program it so that it does this. Wait, but they're making graphics that don't match with what I'm programming. And so it was in real development craziness for however long they were developing it. And it is mostly negative on Steam. And that's between recent reviews and all reviews. But if you actually look at the way the game plays, or actually watch the video trailers and stuff like that, what I get is it looks like it's basically what the original Fortnite concept was. Only you got vampires and stuff. So, yeah. So it doesn't make a lot of sense at all. Had Arcane actually developed it as a game itself and not be told, has to make us money and it has to be like making money like Fortnite and all that, maybe it could have been good. Because they could have actually, to make it sound good, and I would have said, okay, this is Arcane. What games has Arcane made? Well, let's look at their portfolio. We want a live service type game. Well, they made their step 1 sneaking into my tongue again. They made Prey, Dishonored, and Dishonored 2, Why not say, okay, we want to make a game, theme it similar to Dishonored, and try and make it your style, but we want it to have multiplayer and things like that. That would have been probably enough for them to go like, okay, I can get on with this. I know the art style. I know the type of gameplay. So we want to be able to, like jump between things, maybe mix in a little bit of what Prey had, with the crazy creatures that can shapeshift, and you can inject yourself with bonus stuff to get more powers. Okay, yeah. That probably would have gotten them to actually go, all right, we can make this game, rather than here's a game from another studio that we have no relation to, and then here's another game from another studio, and try and make it work. Bye. And they ended up losing the vast majority of their staff throughout this process because most of them wanted to just make a story-driven game and had absolutely no interest in doing multiplayer. And then, of course, they couldn't come out and say they were making this multiplayer game called Redfall in their searches for people to hire people. So they were getting applicants from that, follow what Arcane did and would like to work on a actual Arcane game. That was just terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and from my understanding, they never actually had a lead game designer. So there was no one unified person going, okay, this is what we're doing. So they were always broken up and discombobulated. Here's your group, my group, and we're trying to do this, this, and that. But hey, this is not the type of game we thought we were making from this group. And now this group's making it completely different. So, video games.
Yep. Sounds like a clusterfuck to me.
And, this is not like the first time a studio has gone through this. I think there's been like at least 3 other studios that have gone through something like this where they got word from on high, this is what they have to do. Because that's like, EA basically I can't think of it. It's the people who made Knights of the Old Republic. I can't think of their studio name right now.
Yeah, I don't know many names.
BioWare.
And-
That's the studio.
Oh, okay.
They
I was gonna say they need catchy jingles like EA Sports.
EA Sports.
Every time you
it's
hear
in your pocketbook.
EA, and then someone will be like, "Sports." It's in the game.
Yeah.
More studios need catchy jingles like that. I don't know what to tell you.
Well,
I don't even play sports games at all, but I love that jingle.
because BioWare with now I'm blanking on the game's name. God. The stupid looter shooter that they made that I'm pretty sure is dead now. It had no unified story, or well, it had a story, but it had no unified direction of what it was supposed to be. In fact, and from what I heard, one of it was, we don't want them flying around in their suits and stuff. And then the next minute, another studio head says, "Hey, why aren't they flying around like Tony Stark?" Okay, great. Now we got to redo everything. And so they were getting told one thing from one group and another from a different one, and like I said, a lot of non-cohesion happens.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens when you chase a concept that's been done repeatedly over and over again without much
Right.
originality or effort. Can't go too corporate with video games, man. Everyone can tell.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest problem is that you have we want money. Give us the money. Go make us something that will make
Right.
us money because all these other things that are nothing like what we make are making lots of money. So you make one of those. Like I don't know how to make one of
Or
those.
if you want
It's
to try something new, or if you want to make something new, at least don't rush it.
yeah, and that's what
So
happens a
if you
lot.
want to go outside your comfort zone, that's cool. That can sometimes turn out to be outstanding. But you got to do it right. Like you can't just snap your finger and tell everyone to change everything and do it by this date or else, and
Okay, that's what it was. It was
cause
Anthem.
everyone to quit and Anthem.
Yeah. They had absolutely no direction on what they were doing.
Yeah, clearly.
Well, we've been talking for little under actually about 10 minutes under an hour, so we're going to call it a stop here because I think
Sure.
we've beat this with gone as far as we can with, you know,
I just don't know about
allergies
that
and
topic,
yeah,
but we are at a good stopping point. So.
yeah. All right. So, thank you everyone for watching, listening, or whatever you do. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, follow, whatever it is on all those little sites that we host this thing on. And anything you'd like to say?
No, just thank you as usual, and we'll catch you next week.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.